I've been coming to Resurrection for the past 3 years, and I've been attending MCC off and on for the past 10 years. I first started attending in Dallas because Van had a solo one Sunday. I found the people to be welcoming, but I was still uncomfortable. And Sundays are prime days to get work done around the house, am I right? You see, I grew up Buddhist, primarily because my mom raised me that way. She tried to instill that practice in all of her sons, but being the youngest, I ended up spending the most time with Mom. I don't know if I was Mama's boy, but since my brothers had each other to hang around with, Mom took me under her wing. To understand Mom's decision to become Buddhist, I imagine that we would have to go to the beginning. Mom grew up with a stepmother who was Cinderella mean to her. I think that's why as a child, Mom went to live with her uncle in Japan. She moved back to Korea in time to volunteer for the USO, and that's when she met my dad in 1959. After they married, and Dad brought Mom to the States, she became involved in the Buddhist practice of Soka Gakkai International. The practice appealed to her because she could change her condition by chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, that our condition was a result of karma, and that she was chanting for all of us. She would chant for 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night, and she did Sancho Shima, interspersed through the day, which is 3 Nam-myoho Renge-kyos 3 times. She was very devout, and she wanted to share her practice with her family. My father and brothers converted to Buddhism for her, and I think she got a toaster oven or something, I don't know. She also wanted to spread the message to everybody she met. As kids, we can be embarrassed by our parents, and with my mom, it felt like she was walking down the street telling everybody about SGI, and that's called Shakabuku, by the way. Being a kid, I can tell you that having to sit in one place for an hour, especially as hyper as I was pure torture. We would spend half an hour going through the prayer book, which was the interpretation of the Lotus Sutra by Nichiren Daishonin. It's all in Japanese, and dang, those Asian folk can speak really, really fast. Going through the whole book seemed like it went on forever. I remember being happy whenever we had the condensed version, where we only had to go through 3 sections instead of all of them. As a kid, I was not a very good Buddhist. My mom worked full-time, but she still had time for us. She actually used to make our clothes. She would get the patterns from Sears, and somehow whip out these shirts and pants. They lacked style, but I wasn't gay then, so I really didn't have an awareness about those things. Or did I? I remember one Halloween I wanted to be Merlin the Magician. Mom made it happen. Now about this picture, you'll notice the robe is Merlin with stars and all, but Mom thought I looked so cute that she put a wig on. I was not happy. But now that I'm looking at it, I think I could have had a chance on RuPaul's Drag Race. As a teenager, I became more involved with SGI. I could see the power of chanting, that it was almost like meditation, except for when you had to read all those Japanese words really, really quickly. I was in the band, I went to meetings, Mom gave me my own set of beads and book in a silk carrying case. And I can imagine that some of you have parallels to your own religions, that you got your own Bible, your rosary beads, that thing. And then I got busy. I was going to college full-time, worked almost full-time at a credit union, and I was doing community theater. I remember getting home at 10 o'clock at night, and there Mom would be studying at the dining room table. She was always studying, whether it be English or SGI literature. I would sit down and have a late snack, and we'd talk about the day. I guess I was a mama's boy. I came out to Mom and Dad in 1999, and they seemed to be okay with it. Then they met Van that year, and they actually had to put a face on my gayness, that it wasn't just this ethereal concept, and that I was not a celibate gay man. Van moved in with me, and that's when things went south between me and Mom. You see, being Asian, it's all about saving face, and the fact that she had a gay son meant that she lost face, that she was ashamed because of me. She certainly could not talk about this with her friends, and as we all know, not being able to tell the truth about your experience can bury you alive. Van and I moved to Dallas for many reasons, but one of those reasons was to give her space to deal with it. But that didn't seem to help, since she told us not to come home for Christmas that year. Then my nephew Christopher, her only grandson, died in a car accident in 2006, and Mom realized the family was important. Dad said that like a hen, she gathered her chicks close to her. My relationship became better, but we seemed to have drifted apart again, probably due to the distance between here and El Paso, and that's something I need to work on. You might wonder why I'm talking about all this. Well, for one, between Van and me, he's the talker, and it's good for me to stretch myself by speaking in public. And for 2, the Tattoos on the Heart reading discussed the Buddhist concept of the illusion of separateness, and it brought up all my memories of growing up Buddhist. And what's interesting to me is that as a Buddhist, it was easy to feel separate. It's a very individual process. Even though I was chanting in a room with others, the meditative state, once I wasn't trying to master all those Japanese words, was very liberating, and that would lead to a feeling of being part of the universe. One of SGI's vision is that of world peace, and when we all become the empowered, peaceful, loving people that we have the potential to be, perhaps that's when we will attain enlightenment. And world peace is something that we can all endeavor towards, no matter our religion, race, creed, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic that we might or might not share. And today is Mother's Day. About a month ago, I was moved by something, as I often am in church. There's so much beauty and love here, and you can often find me tearing up in the pews, although I don't want you to see me crying. And I got to thinking about my mom, and about how she would come across as a stern and hard and, in the past, scary woman. And if you want to hear scary stories about my mom, ask Van, since he channels her all the time. But inside my mom is a kind, caring soul who cries during movies and TV shows, but she won't let you see it. She loves her family, and she is a spiritual person. And the apple doesn't fall far from that tree. For I love my family of choice, and although I don't consider myself Christian nor Buddhist, resurrection allows me the space to experience spiritual growth in whatever manner I choose. And I am incredibly thankful for that, and for you. And one last note, to volunteer and serve, please feel free to. We always need great folks like you to make this home to so many searchers like me. Thank you.